Hello, everyone, and welcome. For today's explainer, we're diving into a really wonderful story set in a place called the Willow Woods. It's this beautiful, deep green forest, and we're going to meet a very special friend there. His name is Benny, and he's a little brown bear. Now, Benny is generally a great bear. He's kind, he's cheerful, and he just has this bright, bouncing energy. But, well, as we're about to see, Benny has one really big problem. So tell me, have you ever found it really, really hard to wait for something? Maybe you're waiting for your birthday or, I don't know, waiting to go play at the park. Just think about that for a second. It's super tough, right? We've all been there. Well, our friend Benny the bear absolutely hated waiting. Actually, scratch that. He couldn't stand it at all. Chapter 1. Benny Bear Hates to Wait. You see, Benny's cheerful mood could vanish in a flash. If the sweet berries on the bushes didn't grow fast enough for his afternoon snack, boom, he was upset. If the river fish didn't bite on his line right away, he'd just throw his paws up and walk away. One sunny morning, he was literally stomping his big, furry paws in the forest dirt, grumbling, "Why does everything take forever?" He was just so frustrated because the world simply wasn't moving fast enough to keep up with him. Chapter 2. The Tiny Bamboo Plant. Right while Benny was busy stumping and complaining, an old tortoise named Grandpa Toby slowly walked by. And on his shell, he was carrying this tiny little bamboo sapling. Well, Benny just laughed out loud at this. He pointed and said, "That tiny stick? No way! It's going to take years to grow." But Grandpa Toby, he just nodded calmly and shared a little piece of wisdom. He said, "Some of the strongest things in life take time." Benny, of course, just rolled his eyes and hurried off. He didn't get it at all. A few days later, Benny found this shiny red apple seed down by the river. Oh, he was so excited. He dug a little hole, carefully planted the seed, poured some water over it, and sat right down to wait. So, what do you think Benny did next? Well, 5 minutes passed. Nothing. 10 minutes went by. Still absolutely nothing. By the very next day, he was actually talking to the dirt, demanding to know where the apples were. And by day 3, oh boy, he was so angry he dug the poor seed entirely up, tossed it into the bushes, and shouted that he just knew it wouldn't work. So time marches on, right? Weeks passed, and summer slowly started painting the forest in these gorgeous golden colors. One afternoon, Benny happened to wander near Grandpa Toby's house again, and to his total surprise, that tiny bamboo plant was still sitting there, looking exactly the same. I mean, it hadn't grown a single inch. Benny burst out laughing all over again, completely teasing Grandpa Toby for watering a little twig for weeks with literally nothing to show for it. But Grandpa Toby just chuckled softly. He explained to Benny that the real growth was actually happening beneath the ground first. He shared this amazing secret about roots. Roots, in case you didn't know, are the hidden parts of a plant that grow deep, deep underground to make it strong enough to survive. Toby explained that without patience, the bamboo would just fall over when it finally grew tall. Benny just frowned. He still kind of missed the whole point about those hidden roots. Chapter 3. The Great Harvest Festival. That autumn, a huge competition was announced in the forest. All the animals were going to try and grow the very best vegetables to win this incredible, shiny golden honey jar. Well, Benny definitely wanted that honey jar, so he rushed out and planted carrot seeds. But true to form, after just a couple of days, he decided they were taking way too long and just completely stopped watering them. Now, on the other hand, we have a gentle rabbit named Rosie. She handled things very differently. She carefully tended her little garden every single day. Step 1, she watered her plants. Step 2, she gently removed all the weeds. And step 3, which was absolutely crucial, she waited patiently. When the big festival day finally arrived, wow, just look at the difference. If we peek into Benny's basket, there was absolutely nothing. Zero. Because remember, he gave up and stopped watering his carrots. But in Rosie's basket, it was overflowing with this huge pile of colorful, fresh vegetables because she never, ever gave up. Her beautiful harvest made everyone gasp. And of course, Rosie won the golden honey jar. Benny just hung his head, feeling incredibly disappointed. Chapter 4. The Magic of Patience. After the contest, Benny mumbled that he wished he could grow things like that, but he just failed every time. Rosie smiled really kindly at him and explained that he only fails because he quits right before the special magic happens. That evening, Benny took a really quiet walk through the forest, just thinking hard about what she said. And as he walked past Grandpa Toby's house, he stopped dead in his tracks. Can you guess what he saw? What happened to Grandpa Toby's little bamboo twig? Enormous, tall, green stalks stretched high into the sky, gently dancing in the wind. I mean, the tiny stick was completely gone, and in its place was a giant, towering plant. Benny just gasped. His eyes were huge with amazement, and he asked, "What in the world happened?" Grandpa Toby gave him this warm, gentle smile. He explained that for all those months, the bamboo was super busy focusing on growing strong roots underground. Then, one day, it was finally ready to shoot right up into the sky. Toby looked at Benny and said, "Patience means trusting that good things are growing even when progress feels invisible." All that time, it was working so hard even when Benny couldn't see a thing. And for the very first time, Benny got super quiet. It finally clicked. Waiting wasn't useless after all. Chapter 5. Strong Roots Grow Quietly. The very next morning, Benny decided he was going to try again. He found another apple seed, planted it beside his cave, and made a firm promise to himself. No giving up this time. So, let's follow Benny's journey. During the summer, he watered the soil every day, even when absolutely nothing seemed to change. Through the crisp autumn, whenever he felt that old familiar frustration bubbling up, he'd stop and picture those invisible bamboo roots growing deep in the earth. He waited patiently through the freezing, snowy winter, just trusting the process. And then, finally, came spring. One cool spring morning, Benny stepped out of his cave and just froze. There it was. A tiny green sprout had poked its way right through the soil. It grew! Oh, Benny was so incredibly happy, he shouted with joy and literally danced a little jig around the plant. Because he waited and because he cared for it through all 4 of those long seasons, life was finally springing up from the dirt. Every single day after that, Benny cared for his little sapling with so much patience. And you know what? Years later, that small sprout became a massive, beautiful apple tree, just loaded with sweet red apples. And from then on, whenever younger animals got frustrated or impatient, Benny would give them a gentle smile and say, "The strongest roots grow quietly beneath the ground first." Then he'd proudly point over toward Grandpa Toby's tall bamboo forest, still swaying in the breeze. So what's the big takeaway from Benny's journey? Well, he learned the true meaning of patience. Patience is simply trusting that good results will come if you give them time and care. It's understanding that beautiful things take time to grow. Whether you're planting an apple tree, waiting on a giant bamboo stalk, or even learning how to ride a bike or read a new book, good results always require time, care, and a whole lot of trust. As we say goodbye to the Willow Woods, I want to leave you with one final question for today's explainer. What beautiful thing are you going to be patient for today? Maybe think about those quiet roots growing deep beneath the soil, and remember that sometimes the very best things are happening even when we can't quite see them yet. Just keep tending your garden, keep watering your seeds, and never, ever give up before the magic happens. Thank you so much for joining me today to explore this wonderful story.